Coming up on this March Madness edition of Sports Extra.
The Heels made sure to bring their dancing shoes to Columbus in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
The women's team had its season cut short in Waco in the first round.
And after a slow start to his pro career, one former Tar Heel looks to bounce back strong. All that and so much more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
Welcome to the Sweet 16 edition of Sports Extra. I'm Elena Pirtle. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Jilly Kuhn. 2 down, 4 to go.
The Heels' first opponent in the round of 64, 16th seeded Iona. Only once in history has a 1 seed lost to a 16. Kobe White drives hard to the paint for the layup here, but Iona was red hot in the first half, hitting 10 of 21 three-pointers with thoughts of a monumental upset. Late in the half, Cameron Johnson finds Luke May for the tough shot in the post. Heels trail 38-33 heading into halftime. However, in the second half, it was all Carolina. White finds a wide open Garrison Brooks for the slam dunk. With the shot clock running down, White finds Johnson on the wing for the three-pointer. On the fast break, Johnson passes it to Nasir Little for the turnaround jam, as UNC defeats Iona 88-73 to advance to the second round. The Tar Heels faced the number 9 seed Washington Huskies in the round of 32. Carolina showed great ball movement early as Garrison Brooks finds Luke May for the left-handed finish. Kenny Williams intercepts a pass that leads to an easy fast break layup on the other end. Then it was Nasir Little who passed it to Kobe White, who nails the step back three in the corner. Let's take another look at his amazing footwork here. Killer step back, just call him Cold Kobe. Leaky Black passes it to Cameron Johnson, who hits the three over 2 Husky defenders. The Heels led by 8 at the break. In the second half, White goes behind his back here for the smooth layup. Little blocks a Huskies layup attempt, runs the floor, and is rewarded with a two-handed slam dunk. Seventh Woods then finds Andrew Platek, who pump fakes before the easy floater. Carolina easily wins this one 81-59 and advances to the Sweet 16 for the 10th time under Coach Roy Williams.
In there and love our toughness, love the edge that the bench gave us today, and just love the way we kept competing, and happy as we can be that we're still here.
Man, it feels amazing, man. Just to be part of a team like this, man, and he went to the last 16 to Sandon is great.
You personally, though, I mean, this has been a long time coming to get to this point. Is it rewarding?
Who wouldn't want to be in the Sweet 16? Who wouldn't want to be in the Sweet 16? I don't know how the feeling is once you've been there a handful of times, but you dream of this stuff as a kid.
It's no secret that the Tar Heels are one of the best teams in the country, but now we have an even better way to prove it. I investigated the new net ranking system for the NCAA tournament and how it helps the Heels in March. March Madness, the most unpredictable time of the year in college basketball. No 2 seasons are the same, and I'm not just talking about the upsets. This season, the selection committee is using a new system to rank teams called net.
You know, myself and Dan Gavitt were the 2 primary people on staff working with our partners from Google Cloud, as well as other analytics experts, the Division I Men's Basketball Committee, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, to try to come up with a more modern, contemporary way to rank teams.
That's David Warlock of NCAA, who oversaw net from the beginning. He says the old system implemented in 1981 lacked the more modern, accurate metrics that net now utilizes.
But then also it takes in more modern characteristics of the metrics, such as offensive and defensive efficiency, adjusted winning percentage to take into account the location of the game, and scoring margin.
On Selection Sunday, our Heels were seeded number 1. Carolina's net ranking, however, sits at number 7. Many analysts have speculated, do these net rankings really matter? For our Heels, likely not. It doesn't matter what the NCAA does, though, because UNC doesn't need a format change to get a 1 seed, and in my opinion, go all the way.
Yeah, so UNC was 7th on the net ranking, but we ended up getting a 1 seed. The other 3 1 seeds were all 1, 2, and 3 on the net rankings. So it shows that you know, the net rankings aren't the only thing that the committee is going to take into the selection process.
Carolina's Louisville loss at home is likely what set back the team's net ranking, and the team's strong run at the end likely positioned them for the 1 seed. Numbers aside, I'll put it simply, Carolina's looking good.
The Heels will continue to justify their seeding as they continue to dance toward Minneapolis.
Based on those net rankings, some people questioned whether Carolina deserved a third overall 1 seed. Most of those people live in Durham and Raleigh, no surprise there. Basketball analyst Mallory Marks is live in the studio to tell us that so far the Heels are living up to the hype.
Well, Elena, the first game was far from smooth sailing. North Carolina trailed 16th seed Iona entering halftime. The Heels showed up to play a 16th seed, but Iona showed up to play the Heels. UNC was down 5 going into the half thanks to solid 3-point shooting from the Gales and abysmal 3-point shooting from the Heels. UNC hit only 3 for 13 from behind the line and couldn't defend the heat the Gales were bringing from behind the arc. But everything changed in the final 20 minutes. The lack of urgency that the Heels had in the first half suddenly disappeared. A play called for Johnson opened up the second half and set the tone thanks to UNC's dominating presence on the boards. 52-26 to be exact, the Heels prevailed. And they obviously learned their lesson. If the Heels want to go far in this tournament, they have to show up for 40 minutes, not just 20. If Luke May keeps playing as consistently as he is, I'm feeling good. We have Luke May posting a double-double and Nasir Little with 20 points from off the bench. I've said it before, but Little has really found his groove and he's become an instrumental part of this team. And I don't even have to say it, but Kobe White has as well. White is the top 3-point shooter in the ACC, but what has made him even more dangerous is that he's become comfortable on the court and knows when to hold the ball and when to distribute. So now we're looking to Auburn. A lot of people thought Kansas would be next, but the Tigers dominated the Jayhawks from behind the arc, and that's what Carolina needs to look out for. UNC doesn't have great 3-point defense, nor can the Heels defend the pick and roll well. They've definitely improved since the beginning of the season, but that's going to need to be the focus this week in practice. Boards are important, and in any other game, I might say that's the key, but against Auburn, 3-point defense. They've got to defend, and they've got to get the defensive and offensive boards. They're also going to have to keep pace with the Tigers, who play a pretty fast-paced game. The Heels can definitely do that, but lately they've been sloppy. Turnovers have led to easy buckets for the other side, and that can't happen in this game. Per usual, I'm going to take the Heels, but it's going to be a close one.
That's basketball analyst Mallory Marks, who is so sweet, but no longer 16. Thanks, Mallory.
It wouldn't be March Madness without everyone making a bracket and having some of those brackets go up in flames almost immediately. Here's a look at Sports Extra's bracket standings. Right now, our fearless leader, Dr. T, is alone in first place, followed by Natasha Lagur, who is the only person in the group to have picked Duke to win it all. Take that for what you will. Of the 21 participants in the annual Sports Extra Bracket Challenge, 20 picked UNC as the eventual national champion. Of note, self-described basketball guys and producers, Chip Sweeney and Adrian Walker and director Cam Newworth are last and tied for second to last. After an action-packed weekend of basketball, Brian Gallagher joins us live in the studio with the social media buzz surrounding the Heels and that team wearing a darker shade of blue. Brian?
Thanks, Julie. The Heels had a great game against Washington, so it's Twitter time. Let's see what the fans are talking about. First one is from @RuthSamuel talking about the man, the myth, the legend with all that hair, Kobe White. I don't think enough people appreciate Kobe White's hair. Like that curl pattern, that volume, y'all. Yes, we've said it multiple times, Kobe White has phenomenal hair, and I'm making it my week's mission to find out what product he uses. Up next, we have another one by Kobe White by @Barstool Sports showing this incredible step back. We see here Nasir dishes it to Kobe with a little pump fake and that long step back for the 3. Barstool Sports said it best. Kobe White, more like Kobe White. Next up, we have Nasir showing out while scoring 20 points, and he kept torching Washington even in a post-game interview. A reporter reminded North Carolina freshman Nasir Little that Washington players had families that he dunked on, and he simply laughed, saying their family should tell them to move. This tweet should probably make half the Washington team just drop out. And one last interesting fact about Nasir Little is that UNC is 16-1 this season when he scores in double figures. He ended the night with 20 points. And finally, we go to the Duke versus UCF battle. UCF had a hard-fought game with excellent play by junior Aubrey Dawkins and Taco Fall. But this snapshot by Richie Witt takes a look at a play call that should have been made, which could have changed the outcome of the whole entire game. We see this is the free throw that Zion Williamson missed with 8 seconds left. We see a hook here by a Duke player on a UCF player. And then R.J. Barrett apparently pushing another UCF player where he goes in and gets the putback. I can get away with this in my intramural games, but this shouldn't be happening in the NCAA tournament. That's all the madness I have for you. Back to you, Jilly.
Social media connoisseur Brian Gallagher in studio. Thanks, Brian.
The men's basketball team wasn't the only team to hit the dance floor in March. The women's team traveled to Waco to take on Cal in its opening game of the NCAA tournament. The Heels started off hot, led by senior Paris Key, who made it clear that she wasn't ready to hang it up just yet. Carolina built on its lead through Leah Church, who buried the three to increase the lead in the first quarter. The Heels continued to dominate the first half as Key's long pass here finds Shayla Bennett to add to the Tar Heel lead they take into the break. The Bears would claw back and run away with the game, but Key refused to go down without a fight. She finished the game with 22 points in her final game as a Tar Heel, as the Heels fell to Cal 92-72 to crash out of the NCAA tournament. Paris Key had an outstanding career at Carolina since transferring from Vanderbilt in 2015. She finished her career with a total of 1,637 points in her 3 years as a Tar Heel. That's good for an average of 18 points per game, which is second all-time at UNC. Key also earned 2 first-team All-ACC selections in 3 years.
On the Olympic sports beat, the women's lacrosse team faced its toughest test yet in a clash of ACC heavyweights.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
The Diamond Heels traveled to Blacksburg for an important 3-game ACC series against the Hokies. The baseball team took on Virginia Tech this weekend, and in Game 1, the Heels just never got the bats going. In the bottom of the second, the Hokies had the bases loaded and got the scoring going with a single that brought in 2. In the bottom of the 5th, VT continued with a 2-run bomb by Luke Horansky. The Heels would finally get their first hit in the top of the 9th, but just couldn't overcome VT pitching and fall 4-1. In Game 2, Tech got on the board first. Tanner Thomas hits a double off the wall to give the Hokies a 2-0 lead. In the bottom of the second, VT's Nick Biddenson hits a solo homer to put the Hokies up 3. In the bottom of the third, Michael Bush hits a single with the bases loaded to get the Heels on the board. Just 2 innings later, Bush would hit a hard double to tie the game at 3. The Heels would end up getting the 7-5 victory behind Michael Bush's strong bat. The hot bats continued in Game 3 with Dylan Enwiller smashing a 3-run homer in the top of the second. 3 innings later, Michael Bush would hit a solo homer to make it 4-0 Heels. Behind excellent pitching, Carolina gets the victory 5-2 to clinch the weekend series and improve to 18-7.
The softball team looked to improve upon its season when the Heels took on Georgia Tech this weekend at Anderson Stadium. After winning Game 1 of the 3-game series, the Heels hope to continue the momentum when they took on the Jackets in Game 2 on Saturday. Tech came out of the gates swinging, smashing a 3-run shot in the second inning to go up 5-1. Heels pitchers gave up 12 hits and 8 walks. One of the bright spots came from the bat of Christina Burkhart, whose 2 RBI sparked some life for UNC. But Carolina had no answer for the Georgia Tech offense, and a big 7th inning killed any chance of a comeback. Georgia Tech dominates UNC 13-5. UNC and Georgia Tech met in the rubber match of the series on Sunday. Looking to avenge Saturday's defeat, the Heels jumped out to an early 2-run lead after an RBI from senior Berlin de la Mora. Georgia Tech mounted its comeback in the 4th inning with a 2-run shot to take a 3-2 lead. From that point on, the game balanced on a nice edge, and this amazing catch by Abby Settlemeyer gave the Heels a chance heading into the final inning. With a winning run on base, pinch hitter Kirsten Lasea struck out to end the game. Georgia Tech wins the game 3-2 and takes the series. The Heels will play their next game on Wednesday when they travel to Greenville to take on ECU.
The future of Carolina wrestling looks bright after 2 UNC grapplers took big honors at the national tournament. For the 2nd straight year, UNC wrestler Chip Ness is an All-American. The senior from Duluth, Georgia upset Sam Colbray of Iowa State in the NCAA Championships quarterfinal to clinch All-American honors. Ness knocked off number 2 seed Shakur Rashid of Penn State in the previous round. Ness ended his Carolina career in style as he helped Carolina to its best tournament performance since 1995. Austin O'Connor, the freshman phenom from Lockport, Illinois, also became an All-American when he defeated Duke's Mitch Feinsilver in overtime at the NCAA Championships quarterfinal. O'Connor finished off an excellent season by becoming just the 7th UNC freshman wrestler to become an All-American. O'Connor ended the tournament with a 3rd-place finish.
Several Tar Heel swimmers made waves at the NCAA Championships this weekend. Carolina's 200-yard freestyle relay team won honorable mention All-America honors. Jada Fields, Brooke Bauer, Caroline Howder, and Grace County finished in 16th place with a time of 1:29.04.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. One former Tar Heel looks to rebound from a slow start to his pro career.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Carolina women's lacrosse team was put to the test on Saturday with top-ranked Boston College coming to town. Carolina's sensational sophomore Jamie Ortega kicked things off only 98 seconds in, but the Eagles wouldn't be held down long, reeling off 5 straight goals against the Tar Heel defense. UNC was able to make a push toward the end of the first half, entering the break down 8-5. Right out of the gate, BC earned 3 unanswered goals, and Carolina wouldn't respond until late in the second half. The Heels showed some signs of life, but it wouldn't be enough as Boston College's Sam Apuzzo notched 5 goals to take down the Heels 14-8. Head coach Denny Levy knew this one would be tough.
They tested us in ways that we needed to get tested so we can continue to evaluate ourselves to get better. And this film will definitely show just the small details that you need to be really good at to be a great team.
8-2 Carolina will travel to Virginia Tech on Thursday.
The men's lacrosse team had a big challenge as well, traveling to College Park to take on 4th-ranked Maryland. The team struggled to get anything going against the Terps. The Heels took an early 1-0 lead, but the Terrapins answered quickly. On this Heels goal, a series of smooth passes led to an opening for the UNC attacker, leading to an easy goal. Sophomore Alex Trippi has the ball, sees his shot open up, and slots the ball right past the Maryland goalie. However, the Terps kept up the pressure, sending Carolina home with a 16-9 loss. The Heels fall to 6-3 on the year.
Carolina's 11th ranked men's tennis team hosted 20th ranked Oklahoma on Friday. After taking the doubles point, the Heels dominated in singles. On court one, sophomore Benjamin Sigwin manages to keep the ball in play here. He was focused against Oklahoma's Spencer Papa and earns the point for this set. His match was unfinished. However, on court three, UNC's Josh Peck was impressive as he was able to end this match with this amazing swing as the Tar Heels defeat the Sooners 4-1 on that smash.
The Carolina men's golf team won the Tar Heel Intercollegiate this weekend at Findlay for the second consecutive year. Austin Hitt led the Heels, shooting 3 under par, 213 for the tournament. He finished in a three-way tie for second place. Dougie Argood cards 1 under, 215 for the weekend, and finished tied for 6th. The team defended its home course, finishing first for the weekend. Carolina is back in action next weekend when they travel to Florida for the John Haight Intercollegiate.
The UNC track and field team showed improvement at High Point's vert class meet. Sophomore Jill Shipp had a great performance in the women's hammer with a throw of 63.77 meters. This is the second best throw of her career and in UNC history. Second in the ACC and 6th in the nation this year. The Tar Heels will face Florida later this week.
The Tar Heel fencing program finished 20th at the NCAA championships. Freshman Benny Rabinowitz placed 13 in the men's saber. He's the first Tar Heel men's fencer to reach the NCAA field since 2016.
Junior Wei Chi Chin placed 23rd in women's foil, and junior Jackie Latinsky was 24th in women's saber. It was the first national tournament for all 3 UNC fencers. Athletes dream of making it to the highest level possible in their sport, and when you're one of the best at what you do, it actually becomes a tangible goal.
But what happens when your life goal, your life plan is so close to put your fingertips but slips right through? Mallory Marks has the story.
He was ACC Defensive Player of the Year, a semifinalist for the Mack Herman Trophy that goes to the top collegiate player in the U.S. He was supposed to get drafted by a Major League Soccer team.
You're there, like all suited up, and you're kind of waiting for your name to come up. And then finally, when the whole event was over, I was like, wow, well, I'm not going to get drafted in the first and second round. The third and fourth round were like 3 days later, and my name didn't pop up, so I was like, wow.
A devastating result that left Comcia reevaluating all of the plans he had.
For a second, I reconsidered the whole soccer thing, because I have a degree from UNC and from the business school. I could do well, but I just decided, like, hey, this is the only time in my life I can play professional soccer, so I'm going to keep going after it.
And that decision panned out. A few days after the draft, Comcia got the call from North Carolina Football Club.
I spoke to the coach and he said, hey, come over for the combine, I'll take a look at you. And then I did well on trial. And in the first week of preseason, and after the first week of preseason, he said, well, offer me a contract. So that was a good feeling. Officially pro.
Head coach Dave Sarakin says he has already seen so much from Comcia that assures him he made the right decision bringing him on.
He's comfortable with the ball. He's tactically pretty aware, and now it's a matter of playing a little bit quicker, but he's one of these guys that really wants to improve and do well each and every day, and that's a great starting point for a young pro.
Going from team captain of your collegiate team to the rookie and one of the youngest guys on your team now can be a tough transition, but Comcia says he's ready for it.
But I have to get into that mindset, like, no, I'm not starting over. Like, I have to establish myself right away. Right now, I just want to work hard, prove what I can do. And hopefully I can show that in play, and hopefully we have a successful season.
He hopes to eventually move up to the MLS, and with his talent, attitude, and work ethic, he could have a long soccer career ahead of him. In Cary, I'm Mallory Marks reporting.
All right, Julie, it's March Madness, the most wonderful time of the year in sports. Who do you have playing in the national championship in your bracket?
Duke UNC, actually. Heels taking it all. Duke UNC has never happened. So what about you?
As much as it pained me, I also had Duke and the Heels in the national championship. But of course, I picked Carolina to win it all because this is the University of National Champions.
Duh.
That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Extra.
We'll see you next week.